You know, I was talking to my team this morning about the difference between the top 1%. The top 1%, I believe, the high earners are high learners.
Yeah.
You know, they care
Yeah.
and they want to learn. And I think, you know, I just sat down with Andrew a second ago and you listened to one of the recent episodes with Tom Lawrence and you'd listen to him again.
Yes.
So he must have been pretty good on this one.
Yeah, must have been good.
Because he went on the second best podcast after that, which is Simon Gates.
That's the one. Yeah.
Opening the Gates. What did you take away? Let's start there.
Yeah.
From the event and also from
Tom. I think from the event, it's the first personal development type training I'd ever been involved in. So, you know, prior to that, training is very much on evaluation, you say this, you structure it that way, you know, here's how you phone out a problem, all the sort of industry specific stuff. And so what was kind of great with that event was it's more focused on yourself to start with, really, wasn't it? And sort of your own sort of energy and sort of self-care. And so, I kind of come away buzzing from it.
And what did you change after that event?
I think I looked at how I looked after myself and sort of the emphasis on simple things, you know, what you're reading, what you're watching, how much you're sleeping, all those sorts of things. And so, took a bit from that.
How much did that help, would you say?
I think it did. I mean, again, some of that had an impact really quickly and some of it sort of resonates in the background and you sort of filter through it and you've never solved it, have you? That's the reality of all these things. It's a continuous sort of learning process you go on. But yeah, it definitely kind of got me fired up for sure.
It's really interesting when you look at those kind of events and you think to yourself, you know, it's quite a lot of money, isn't it, to go to these things? Because it's not just the cost of the ticket, it's the cost of your time.
Well, that's it, especially, you know, small business, it's a day out of the office as well.
You weren't making any money.
Weren't making any money, so even just buying the tickets, quite a big hit for me at that point. Not the biggest fan of going into a room where I don't know anyone either. So again, turning up to an event by yourself, not anyone.
I've spoke to a lot of people who are exactly the same, because you went on your own, didn't you?
Yes, I did, yeah.
And a lot of people I know that day did exactly the same thing. They were all pulled in for different reasons, but that feeling's quite like scary.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, I mean, it's...
Because you've got to talk to people, right?
Yeah, you do, yeah. And,
you don't know.
Yeah, it's... so, yeah, I mean, just, you know, it's relatively daunting turning up somewhere where you don't know anyone. But I wanted to be there enough that was more important to me than worrying about that.
You just made me think, before we go on to the episode with Tom and just getting some feedback on that. I remember in a coaching call with you once, you might remember this, you pledged to run a certain amount.
I do remember this, yeah.
And take us back to that call. What?
Yeah, and it's funny because it is something I still think about now, you know. But I think when it was a Simpson, I was very guilty of saying I was going to do something amazing, getting somewhere close to it, and then saying to myself, that's fine. And I think you sort of held me to account that day to say, look, if you've said you're going to do it, stop training yourself to accept failure, which is essentially what you do when you sort of don't follow through. And sort of, made a real sort of...
Do you remember what it was specifically?
Yeah, and it weren't even a hard challenge. I said I was going to run 100 kilometres in a month or something like that. I think it was 100. And it was getting towards the end of the month. I think I'd been ill, different things, you know. So anyway, I was like, I'm going to get close. I'll probably get to about 85 or something. I'm quite happy with that. And then you sort of said, well, look, I think you're training yourself to sort of accept failure. And, you know, you've got to be accountable to the sort of the things you set yourself. Yeah. And I think you can do it and you'll feel great if you do.
I think that's that kind of watch what you say.
Yes, yeah.
Your words are your truth.
Yeah.
So if you do what you say and say what you do, you're starting to build trust with yourself. Yeah. I talk a lot about trust at the minute because trust is one of the key components of building a relationship with either people in your business or new clients. Yeah. And if you don't trust yourself, it's hard to build trust with other people. So if you're constantly telling yourself that you're going to do stuff and then you don't do it, you become habitual in that area of telling yourself something and not even believing it from the off, if that makes sense. And, you know, you can reverse that and maybe commit to less but do more. Yeah. And you start to build brick by brick that kind of self-belief. which was really good. It only made me think about that this morning as I was coming in.
Yeah.
Thinking about when we used to have those sessions. And,
Yeah.
you know, you were going through some big changes in your business from going from a certain number of sales. There's that magic target of sales, and I think you did reach it.
Yes, yeah.
And you reached it because you made commitments to yourself.
Yeah.
Whether it was personal and, you know, nutrition or health or energy, all of those things build those bricks of belief. And I believe still fundamentally people don't actually understand how important it is to put those foundations in first and then all of the other stuff. Like trying to teach people scripts and dialogues is hard if they haven't got that.
Yeah.
Because the likelihood is they won't take it away and do anything. It will sound good, feel good, which is why a lot of people leave events and don't do anything different.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It does. And I think, you know, even when we were talking about sort of targets I was setting for the year and that, I remember you sort of saying, look, I think you need to rein back from it. Simply because I was always very much, I'm shooting for the moon and maybe I'll get close to it and I'll be happy. And so it was changing that mentality to, look, say you're going to do it wherever you want it to be, but then make sure you actually get there. Teach yourself that you can achieve the things that you say you can achieve would be the starting point. It's
and zoning in on the things that you need to do consistently.
Yeah.
Starting with the things you can control.